Welcome, everybody. I love seeing you. Hey, Mary. Oh, I love the background, Mary. I love that. Data-driven home care leader. That is fantastic. So good. Hey, Clayton, good to see you. Mike, great to see you. Kelly is on the road in Alabama. Trucking it. Be safe. So is Shayna. Oh, it's so good to see y'all. Welcome, everybody. This is going to be a fantastic day. Data is something we all are interested in, and we're going to demystify some of it today. Jessica's going to come up. It's going to be incredible. I'm Clint Nobles. For those of you who might not know, put in the chat if this is the first time you've joined us. And if you're watching on the Facebook live stream, we're doing also in the home care operators community. Make sure to blow that comment section up too, post your questions, all of that. Hey there, Amy, first time, welcome from Greater Cincinnati. I love Cincinnati. I was just talking to my kids about Cincinnati this morning on the way to school. So very timely. Newbie Nicholas, welcome. Well, for those who may not know us, I'm Clint Nobles, and Jess and I founded Home Care Ops, and we help home care owners leverage the power of a team-managed agency so they can increase their profit, reduce their stress, and scale their business while exiting daily operations. That's a really quick way of saying we help you do more, earn more, or do less, earn more, and be able to actually have the impact you want. Now, one of the ways we do that is with some of these incredible master classes and FAQs we're hosting with incredible partners. And today is all about helping you dive into the data. And for those of you who've been on our sessions before, part of our engagements, make sure to let everybody, all the new people know what to expect, because eventually they're going to be like, these people are crazy. And I'm not really sure what I got into. So Teresa, I'm banking on you now. You got to let them know we actually are pretty nice people, and not to be scared just because we get a little crazy. I mean, after all, the great like music y'all walked into, that's Mr. Kevin's jam, and he like kills it with the mixtapes here. So, all right. So let's go ahead and get today started, because we want to give as much time as we can so we can dig into the data, right? And know how to leverage data in your agency to really make a difference, because sometimes data can seem this overwhelming element, right? But we have some really incredible partners that are joining us today. Miss Jesilynn and Miss Jessica are going to be coming on here and really breaking down how you can leverage that data in your business, right? So without any further ado, please raise your hands, turn on the cameras for me. Let Miss Jessica see you, because she's coming on the scene right now. Welcome her. Give her a big round, everybody. Welcome, Miss Jessica.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see y'all. For those who are in the Zoom with your cameras on, thank you so much. Erica, I'm focused in on you. Oh my gosh, Angie, you are here. Like, let me know when I need to wrap it up, speed it up, or like slow it down. You know how I'm looking at you. Cece, so good to see you. Amy, I'm so happy you're here. And Nicholas, so good to have you on this call. Miriam, I see you. Shout out to you. And Care Switch, so many awesome people on this call. And we're talking about data. Who's excited about data? I'm really looking for excitement. Erica's like, who's excited about data? I'm not going to get an excitement, am I? Everybody is like, data. What? No. For data to be 4 letters, it can be super overwhelming. And it's like KPIs. For KPIs to be 3 letters, it's like what? We call KPIs keep people inquiring. Right? People are always like, what should I track? What should I track? What should I track? How should I track? And with data has become the new word for KPI. Has anybody noticed that? And we're all like, what should we be tracking? So I will tell you, I'm not the data expert. Data is something that I didn't even know it was something I really needed to be really tracking intentionally until several years ago. I heard about this thing called the Home Care Pulse benchmarking report and survey. And everybody was talking about how it was super important to do the survey. And I started doing it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have half the information really accurately tracked to even enter in here. And that's whenever I was really first introduced to the importance of data. And then I used that kind of as like my cheat sheet of how to collect data and what data to collect to really learn how to leverage it in my business in a really simple way. You're not going to hear any complex talk here today. If you walk away saying that was so simple and you're trying to figure out, was that worth the investment of my time? I want you to feel like it was so simple that you're walking away being like, yes, I can leverage data. I'm going to do that. And so, I had to bring in a special guest. And when it comes to data, we know there is an expert, a front runner, someone who's been compiling data and helping us to leverage the data in our business on a national level, on a lobbyist level, on a state level. And we all know that that is Home Care Pulse. And so I can't talk about data without bringing in the experts who really makes data easy for us to track and compare to really know where we're at and how we're doing in our business. So I brought on, and some of y'all, for all you Home Care Pulse users, you may already know this wonderful person that I am bringing up here, because Miss Jesilynn is the customer support manager. So she's the one boots on the ground answering all your data questions, tracking questions, support questions on a daily basis. So I want to take this opportunity to welcome Jesilynn. Welcome so much to today's Home Care Data FAQ.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for having me here today. It is an honor, and I'm excited to be able to share my knowledge and answer questions and just, make data not so intimidating for everybody.
Yes, I love that. And that really, so at the end of the day, guys, our goal is to make data less complicated for all of you. So how many brought data questions with you? Let me know in the comments. If you brought questions you want answered, put it in the comments. Say, I brought a question, like put me. And then I want you to follow that up by go ahead and add in your question, because my team will be compiling all your questions so we make sure that we get them. Susan Williams is like, I love data. Awesome. And if you come and you were like, you know what, I don't really even know what questions to ask about data, and that's why I'm here, put me in the comments. You come to the right place. All right. Getting several me's out there.
Okay.
And who is with Susan Williams? And they're like, I love data. Put love in the comments. Awesome. Jeffrey, we got you covered. Angie, we got you covered. Jeffrey, oh, love. He loves. Awesome. Jeffrey, we may be coming to you for some questions about data then. And so this data is, you know what? This data is, it's going to be primarily focused on private duty. However, leveraging your data is, you can apply that to any business. So what we're talking about today is funneled through the home care vision. So, and I love that Mary says, I'm beginning to fall in love with data. I will tell you, when you realize what data will do for you, I hope everybody gets off here and says, I'm in love with data, and now I'm going to learn how to do it even better. And so, all right, as your questions are coming in, we're going to start us off, and I have Clinton going to be asking us questions so that me and Jesilynn can focus in on all of you. I can see every one of you right here. Joe, I see you. Kelly, drive safe. I see you. Mary, I see you. I love your background. I can see all of you. I can feed off your energy. And if you're giving me this big, like, oh, then I know then we need to kind of shake things up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off with the first question. And then Clint, I'm going to look at you for all the rest of the questions coming in. But I think it's really important that we start off with, why is it important to track data?
Yeah.
Why is it important to track data? And if some of you guys already know the answers, throw it in the comments. Why is it important to you to track data? And so, Jesilynn, I'm going to point that question at you first. Why is it so important that we're tracking the data in our business?
Yeah, so tracking your data allows you to look back and review your data and performance over the previous year, which will offer valuable insight into the operation of your business. And then it also ensures that you're positioned to succeed in the upcoming year. So looking back on your previous year, having all of that available, easy to see, easy to read, allows you to analyze that and make strategic decisions into how you're going to, continue into the next year with your business.
Yeah, and that's incredible. And who would like to be able to look at your business and really know what's working and what's not working? I'm sure I can answer for all of us. We're all like, yes. So let me tell you a real-time story, an example of why you need to leverage your data. And I'm just going to give you one example of many. In around 2018, we realized that a lot of the calls that we had coming in, because we were tracking our calls, because we were tracking the reasons that people wasn't moving forward with our services, or they weren't our right fit client. We were tracking all that. We realized that people were wanting a lot more shorter hours, meaning they were just wanting someone to come in and help them remain independent. They didn't want as many hours. And they were also a lot more open to moving into a community. And everybody's probably saying, oh, yeah, I know that. However, we tracked the data so well that we were so confident that if we created a service line that would give quick care visits that were not based on the hour, that were based on a weekly, almost like membership for care, that we could increase our profit margins. We increased our profit margins by 5% over what we were getting for hourly care, and we could provide a better solution. So we increased our profits, we increased our client count, and we created a solution that would meet today's generation of those needing our care. We're not just dealing with the silent generation needing care in their homes. We're dealing with the boomers who are needing a little bit of care. They look at care a little bit differently. We did that by data. Not only that, we knew if more people are willing to move into communities, are open to going into communities, then if we created a community program, we created a community concierge program that was completely out of the box, and community care become one of our largest sources for revenue. Had we not been tracking the data and really making note of whenever we get incoming calls come in, when we qualify them, are they our right fit client or not? What is the reason that they are not? And tracking that data, we were able to create a service line to not only be competitive, but be a trailblazer in our community as far as care goes. And we were able to increase our profit. Who wants to do that? So that's just an example of why it's so important to track your data, because what data does is it makes the whole, I'm from Mississippi, and we say, if we throw enough spaghetti on the wall, something will finally stick. A lot of times in our business, we keep throwing things on the wall. I'm going to try this and see if this works. I'm going to try that and see if that works. And we don't know what actually works and what actually doesn't. But when we're tracking data, we can leverage that data to make, get this, guys, business owner decisions. And whenever you have data and you can make a business owner decision, not just an operator. Sometimes we're so busy operating our businesses that we get in operator mode. It's like, I'm trying to survive rather than I am growing and I am thriving, right? But data gives me the confidence to say, okay, this is the right decision. As the owner, I know that this is going to be valuable. I know that this is going to be profitable. So as you can tell, I'm very passionate about data, because it helps me to make a lot of decisions with confidence. And I will tell you, I'm born in June. That means that we second guess everything, right? We were very indecisive. But if I have the data to back up my decision, then it overrides my Gemini. And I can be like, all right, this is the right decision. And so isn't that exciting? And then that kind of leads to, like, how do I leverage data? And what does that actually mean? And Jesilynn, I know that you've probably been asked this question a lot, but when people ask you, how do I leverage the data? And specifically the data that that Home Care Pulse puts out every year with their benchmarking report, how can we leverage that in our business?
Yeah, so the benchmarking report, it collects data from agencies all over the nation. So you're able to see all of these agencies' data in one place, so you can compare your agency to everybody else. And this allows you to learn best practices, analyze your performance, make more informed decisions. And with the benchmarking report, you can compare your findings unique to your agency size, revenue range, geographic region, and more. It allows you to compare your company's financial performance to the industry's benchmarks, stay current with trends within home care, home health, and hospice, sales, marketing, recruiting, turnover, training, technology, finance, just all of these things. And it helps you learn what works for agencies across the country and where your efforts should be focused.
Yeah, I love that. So there's so much that data does. And I love that the benchmarking report shows us the trends. What's happening? How can we leverage that? How is our growth adding up or comparing to others in our industry, like Jesilynn was talking about? I know with me, whenever I looked at the benchmark report when it come out, the very first time I ever submitted the survey, I thought, wow, my turnover rate is pretty good. What I actually really love is I'm not leveraging all of the marketing and referral sources that I could be. Like, I wasn't even aware that I needed to be going after some of those, but the benchmarking report gave me an insight to that. And another thing that you can leverage, because I really want you to understand, leveraging data in your business isn't just about what you've already done. How many of us as home care owners feel like we're constantly reacting to things? Like, every single day, we're reacting to a call out. We're reacting to a new client. We're reacting to this. We're reacting to that. However, when you're tracking data in your business, for example, we tracked when we had call outs. And I would have swore, put in the comments, when do you have the most comments? Tell me when you think you have the most comments in your business. What did I say? Oh, yeah. No, comment how many call outs you got. Thank you. Y'all keep me on track. Comment how, like, what day you get the most call outs. We'll do it like that. What day do you get the most call outs in your business? Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, weekends. I would have swore that I got the most call outs on a Friday evening, maybe a Saturday or Sunday. Oh gosh, Sunday was such a hot pot. I actually, by tracking our data over a 3-month period of when we got the most call outs, it was Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. At 7 a.m., we got the most call outs. So what did I do? I looked at the trends and the triggers, and we created an on-call team, and we had someone do rounds every Wednesday. We had someone who was on call in the event that there was a call out. So it's by tracking the data in your company, and don't worry, we're going to get to the different things that you can track. You can actually track the triggers. For example, how many knows that there's going to be a call out in your business next month? I mean, there's no way to avoid. If I could find a way to completely avoid call outs, we would just all go crazy and and just grow our businesses massively. But whenever we're tracking the data, we can actually look at triggers. And what's really incredible is in home care, nobody thinks of us as having a seasonal business, right? Like if you had a fruit stand on the side of the road, or you had you would have a seasonal business, right? But it's home care, we're like, it's a constant. However, if we're tracking the data, we're probably actually going to see that we go down in hours certain times of the year. We have more deaths certain times of the year. We have more families calling about their loved ones certain times of the year. And it's the same every single year. By tracking your data and being mindful of that, you can really look at not only the trends, but the triggers in your business. And when it comes to tracking, and I know a lot of people say, okay, well, there's 100,000 things to track. But even if I knew what to track, I don't know how to track them. Who's currently tracking data in your business? Raise your hand or put it in the comments. If you are currently tracking data in your business, let me know in the comments how that you are tracking that data. An Excel sheet. Awesome, Andy. Bev, how are you tracking those? What sources? Awesome. Access care scheduling system, operations system, their backend software, Excel, Well Sky Clear Care, KPI scorecards, Salesforce. So, and I think you guys just answered that question for us, but Jesilynn, I'm going to go to you and ask, how do you track data, and what have you found to be the most effective way?
Yeah, so some of the ways I know tracking data, if you utilize Home Care Pulse, we have our products experience management. You can utilize your scheduling software, EMR. You can also access your application tracking system for any training related questions. You can access your LMS if you use an online training system, or your own internal tracking, Excel, as some have mentioned. Those are the specific ones I'm aware of. If there's others out there, we might be able to look some up and kind of inform you of more, but those are the ones I know of. And so those are the best ones that I know of as well.
Yeah. So, and the same goes for us. So who thinks tracking data seems complicated? I will admit, I used to think tracking data was incredibly complicated. One thing I had, we have a great operations software and it tracks quite a bit of data. And then we started tracking data via an Excel sheet, and probably several of us are using different sources, but whether you use Excel, Google Sheets, your operating software, Salesforce, KPI scorecards, I will tell you this, what software or what tracking method that you need to use is the one you will actually use consistently. So, and when it comes to tracking data, if you need to start with pen and paper, then you start with pen and paper. Because it doesn't matter how great a software system is or an Excel sheet is, if you don't actually use it, it doesn't do you any good to just gather the data occasionally. It really, tracking the data isn't even what you leverage. Tracking the data without analyzing the data doesn't really do you any good in your business. It's not going to benefit your business. So if many of you are saying, you know what, my system is tracking data, but I don't even know how to use it. I don't see how it's any good for me, or I'm not tracking it consistently. I will tell you, this is an example. Can everybody see that one-page sheet? That one-page sheet has 17 data points. And we give this to all of our coaching clients, and we say, if you're only tracking this data, you're already going to be more profitable. You're already going to be more effective. So some data you have to make sure that you're tracking. And why did we give them a printable piece of paper that they could track every single week? Because they would do it. And I started tracking data like this because I was like, you know what? I don't like Excel sheets. My Excel sheet isn't being built out right. Google Sheets is not working well for me. And I literally started by tracking data in my planner. And in just a minute, I'm going to go over the 17 things that everybody has to be tracking. And I will tell you that who all has downloaded their prep worksheet? Did you download your prep worksheet from Home Care Pulse? Who has already submitted their survey? Awesome. Awesome, Amy, you've already submitted your survey. I think submitting this survey was one of the most eye-opening things I ever did early on in my business from a data standpoint. Number one, it has over 40 data points that you should be measuring. Over 40 data points that you should be measuring. And I love it this year because it's home care, home health, and hospice. Like home care comes up in these blue, like they're highlighted blue, and everybody had this. You got it in your email, like you have access to this. All of the things that it's important for you to be tracking in your business. So right now, if you're saying, I don't know what to track, Home Care Pulse calls this a worksheet. I call this a cheat sheet. This is my data cheat sheet. And I know that all these data questions that we've been getting in at Home Care Ops and Home Care Operators community is because y'all are trying to fill this out. I look at the trends and triggers. We literally track every single question that comes into Home Care Ops, obviously, so that we can see the trends and triggers. Every year around January and February, data starts blowing us up. And so I want to make sure that, Jesilynn, we get this question answered today, and I'm going to read it just like people submit it. Hey, I'm over here trying to do this Home Care Pulse survey, but I'm just guessing. Like, is guessing okay? That's one of the questions that we get majority of the time. The other one is, hey, I'm just guessing at the stuff that I'm putting in here. How does this really help me in my business? So, Jesilynn, if we're getting a lot of those questions at Home Care Ops, I know you're getting a lot of them at Home Care Pulse.
Yeah.
So, how do you respond when people say, you know what, I'm kind of just making a close guesstimate at what I think?
Yeah, so we definitely want as close as possible, as true as possible data as you can get. Because with better data and insights, we can improve the post-acute continuum of care. Improving the whole continuum of care requires true industry alignment, which can only be achieved through better data. So if you do happen to find yourself guessing on your responses, we recommend taking some more time to research so you can be sure of your answers. And while digging in and researching your own data and participating in the survey, filling out that worksheet beforehand, you might realize that you'd like to track your data differently and more effectively for your agency, which is a great insight into your own agency's tools that you use. And this will allow you to have a more true understanding of your agency and be able to have complete confidence in the data you're sharing in the survey. And even if you don't have those data points, maybe you can't fill out the survey this year, but you can make those changes for next year. But no matter what the size of your agency, participating in the survey is a helpful way for, to gain a deeper understanding of your own data. And there's no better exercise than participating in a study that provides an internal audit of KPIs, benchmarks, strategic decisions, like you've mentioned before. But if you are guessing, go back, do some more research, try and be as true as possible to that data as you can be.
Yes. So that's so good. And for those who know most of the questions, and they feel like they've got fairly accurate data to enter, but there's some things that they're not sure of. Is there a way that they can skip those questions?
I actually don't have the answer to that. I'm not sure if you're able to submit it or not if you haven't completed it. I don't believe you can, but we can follow back up with an answer to that.
Yeah, and I think the important thing that you said in that was dig a little deeper, because none of these questions are hard. And I hope everyone has looked over these. And I will tell you, like it says, number of new client assessments. We all should be tracking our number of new client assessments, right? Because if we're doing, I'm just going to use an easy number. If we're doing 100 client assessments a year and only 60 of them are converting, and we're only retaining 30% of them after the end of the year, then there's probably a gap in our operations. And whenever we work with home care owners every single day, operations is what we do, helping them identify the weak spots in their operations, the gaps in their operations. And a lot of the home care owners that we work with, they don't have data all beautifully submitted on a spreadsheet. Majority of them don't. And I will be honest with you, I did not have mine. The first time that I did the benchmarking report, I literally sat down and like dug into files, and I looked online and I put it together, and I learned so much about my company. And I literally reached out to Home Care Pulse and said, you know what, there's a lot of things that I don't know. And they give me the same answer that Jesilynn did, is get as close to the accurate number as you can, and then make a plan for tracking it. So I want all of you to know right now that if you get into this cheat sheet and you go through here and there's a lot of questions that you cannot answer, or you don't feel like you have accurate, you are not a failure, right? What you have been given is the cheat sheet for your data. And I won't go a step further, because what I love is once I filled out my worksheet, which is only like 9 pages, and then I went to enter it, it has all these little drop down boxes of where's most of your leads coming from? And where's most of your hires coming from? And what it did is it gave me 10 different sources for top referrals, 10 different resources for top recruiting methods. So I learned just as much from doing this as I did from getting the report back on the back end. So a lot of us know the most basic data points. So, and I told you I was going to kind of go over the 17, and everybody's like, 17 data points. There's 17 data points that we have, we feel like everybody should be tracking. And if you are tracking these 17 data points, then more than likely you're going to get into this benchmarking study and you're going to be like, oh my God, that was a breeze. That wasn't near as hard. I feel like I have so much more clarity about my business and where my business is going. And I would tell you, for us to really be profitable, it's always super sad whenever we work with home care owners and they feel like their profit margins are yeah, my profit margins are at 13%. My profit margins are at 18%. My profit margins are 24%. But because they haven't actually tracked their data correctly and tracked their numbers correctly, they have found out that their net profit margins are 2% and 4% and 6%. And if we're tracking our data, we can avoid that pitfall. If you've ever felt like, oh my God, I work so hard, I've got clients, I've got a team, my business is going good, but I feel like I can barely pay myself, much less make my business profitable. Because not only we have to make money, but our business has to make money too, right? A lot of times we'll find that the gaps and what's causing us to literally feel like our money is just pouring out of holes is because we haven't identified the holes and the gaps in our operations. Data will help you get clear on that. And so, and obviously everybody, let me know in the comments, whenever I mention something, give me a hands up or give me a me or an M, if you're already tracking this. Are you already tracking how many serviced hours that you have a week? Lots of hands. Everybody's tracking service hours. Yes. The hours you invoiced, you're tracking your overtime hours, your scheduled shifts, your completed shifts, your missed shifts. Everybody tracking those? Yeah, everybody, lots of wins here. Lots of wins. And I love that. Kelly says, for too long, I had the limiting belief that numbers were not my thing. Oh my gosh, who's there? I literally used to feel that way. Now she's gotten much more comfortable with data and finances. And I would tell you, it gets even better. Like the more that you learn, when you learn to feel good at these little things, like tracking what I just mentioned, it's so much easier to begin tracking even more. But you've got to track the small things consistently. So, and whenever you're tracking your scheduled shifts, your completed shifts, your missed shifts, and your hours paid, everybody track those, right? Everybody compares those. You would be amazed at how many people don't actually track those 4 things, and then they're paying whenever their profit margins don't line up. It's because the scheduled shifts, the completed shifts, the missed shifts, and the hours paid didn't line up. And thankfully, our software tracks most of those. And then everybody's tracking your active clients, right? You're tracking your active clients. You're tracking your new clients. You're tracking your discharge clients. Everybody tracking those? Everybody. So guys, you are already tracking data and you didn't even know it. The hardest part is done. We feel like data tracking is hard. You've already been doing it. Now it's about learning to analyze it, to look at it and analyze it. How many is tracking their new active leads? Right? Because you want to compare your new active leads to your new clients, right? We're tracking those. And then we're tracking our active caregivers versus our terminated or deactive caregivers, right? We're tracking how many applications come in, how many scheduled interviews, and how many completed interviews. Everybody's doing that, right? And I will tell you, that's a big one. Applications received, scheduled interviews, and then how many completed interviews, and then how many new hires. Like, we're all tracking that. And if not, put those on your list because those are super, super easy to track. And then from there, it's about tracking your payroll, your revenue, your gross profit, and then your outstanding invoices and your paid invoices. How many people could say yes to like 80% of those, what I just mentioned? So if you are tracking those, you can accurately, with confidence, complete this benchmarking report. Like, that's really, and the thing about it is you're going to get so much clearer whenever you look at your numbers and then you analyze them. And I'm not here just to promote the benchmarking report, how, like, it's important on multiple reasons. And we're going to talk about that. But we overthink data. We overthink tracking. We make it whenever we're literally not focusing on trying to track data, but we're inputting it in this report and this survey. What we do is we begin to analyze it. For those who have already done the survey, as you were entering this stuff, how many times is that the first time you really analyzed your numbers? And I know for several of you have been analyzing your numbers because y'all been reaching out to us and say, oh my gosh, my turnover is 20% higher than I thought it was. Or like, all of the marketing sources that I've been pouring into are giving me very little return, if any return at all, right? That's the importance of tracking data. Marketing it's such a hot topic, and we really call it KPIs because we put a lot of marketing funds into referral sources. But by tracking what's working and what's not working, we know where to put our funds and allocate our funds, right? So tracking that data is super important. So, and I want to hear from you, Jesilynn. Do you feel like it's just those core key things that people should be tracking when it comes to data in their business?
Yeah, so all of the things you've mentioned, I always refer people to that prep worksheet for the benchmarking report, everything on there, just like you've said. So when it comes to finances, caregiver training, recruitment and retention points, sales and marketing points. Like you mentioned, you were like, some people, they just don't realize they need to be tracking those kinds of things. But tracking those things like inquiry calls, number of new client assessments, and even your top revenue producing sales and marketing sources. Those are all great things to track throughout the year that you can then analyze later and determine those strategies for the next year.
Yeah, I love that. And I will tell you, for the reason why I call this thing the cheat sheet is because if you turn to page 9 of 9, and it literally says, what payer sources? Like, I want you to, as you're entering in your information in this survey, and for some of you who say, you know what, I'm not been tracking data enough to even feel like that I can enter them, please do yourself a favor, do your business a service, and use this cheat sheet. It is a cheat sheet because it literally lists over 10 different payer sources, Yet a lot of times we stop at private pay and long-term care insurance or Medicaid, but there's lots of payer sources on here. Tracking data itself will not do anything in your business. It will not benefit your business. It will not help your business. And even if you fill out this entire survey and you submit it, and then you get the benchmarking report, and I do, guys, I want to tell you that this is the first time ever they've done this, but whenever you do your survey and you enter your survey, you get a free benchmarking report. And that right there is $999. They just give it to you for free as a thank you for being a part of really the movement that is saying, you know what? I am a part of an industry bigger than me. Like, it's important that we submit our survey. But as you are doing your worksheet, really put down, and something that I did is I went through first and I put a star beside everything that I was tracking. And then I went in and I circled everything that I felt like I wasn't tracking well. And it get like, for those who are saying tracking is hard, and then literally I went to an Excel spreadsheet and I just put down inquiry calls, number of new client assessments, number of new clients, top revenue producing marketing sources. Literally went through this survey and wrote down all of the data points that I should be tracking, or that I could be tracking, that I could be leveraging. And it wasn't hard. But then I tracked it for like a year. And then I thought, well, that was a lot of dedication. That was a lot of work. Who feels like they're tracking a lot of data and still don't know how it really helps them? Going in and analyzing your data is what makes the difference in your business, is what helps your business. It's what can give you the competitive edge. And I love that we can go in and we can look at the benchmarking data and we can compare it against where we were and where we are. But even more powerful than that is looking at data and saying, okay, this is what's working in my business and this is what is not working. Whenever I look and I see that I received 190 applications and I scheduled 40 interviews, I had 10 interviews completed and I had 1 new hire, that could just be data. Or I could say, why did I receive 190 applications and only have 20 scheduled interviews? There's a gap between the application when I received it and me scheduling their interview. I found a gap. How do I fill that in my business? When I look at my data and I see, okay, I had this many scheduled hours and I had this much money projected, but I only have this many completed shifts and I have this many missed shifts, and I see, oh my gosh, why did we have 6 missed shifts and why is our projections lower, then I can look and see what is the gap in my operations. When I look at my data and I see that, oh my gosh, I'm going to assisted living over and over again, and I am dropping off jar of candy, donut tray, Chick-fil-A tray, don't like over and over, but I've only got 2 leads that were my wrong fit client in the past year. I'm going to look at my operations and say, what is the gap? Am I really clear on who my right fit referral source is? Am I really clear on my messaging? Is what I'm doing really giving me an ROI? We can do that by data. And tracking data can seem like a really big thing unless we have a cheat sheet. And if you're our coaching clients, you got a really simple, it's a 1-page cheat sheet. If you like, everybody has access to this home care pulse. They call it a worksheet. I call it a cheat sheet with literally over 40 things that you can be tracking in your business. Start tracking them, but go a step further and start analyzing them. What's working and what's not working. In 2019, our biggest revenue source was from concierge care. And I'm talking about like that was our highest profit margin. We made 6% more net profit from community concierge than we did from in-home care. We track the data. We become way more profitable. We got more referrals from fiduciaries and from service call nurse practitioners than we did home care, hospice, home health, and hospitals combined. We track the data. So that's why data is so important, that you not just track it, but you analyze it. Because if you just track it and you never do anything with it, you don't analyze it, you don't leverage it, you don't utilize it, you don't review it. And Clinton makes a statement all the time. If you can track it, you can change it. If you can measure it, you can monetize it. If you can measure what you're doing, you can monetize it. And that's what we learn to do in our business. When we're tracking the data, we can monetize it. Whenever we looked at how many applications we had coming in, how many converted to an actual completed interview, and then how many was with us 90 days later, we went back and said, where did those applications come from? What did those job reviews say? What was the highlight? And we're going to do more of that and less of this other stuff. And that's what data does. It helps you to see what's working in my business and what's not working in my business. So many people say, well, what's working in my business right now is people don't want to work. There is a job shortage. Like nobody wants to work anymore. Because someone tracked the data years ago, we know that it's because not enough people don't want to work. There is less people being born every single year. There's been a 7% decrease in babies being born since what? Like 1997? Don't hold me. That's like that. Huh? 4% since 1971, 4%. In each year, it's declining more and more, or I guess increasing, of how many babies are not being born. So guess what? Our recruiting problem started in 1971, right? There's just not as many people to fill the jobs as the amount of baby boomers we have. So since we know that, since we know it's not the perfect job ad, it's not the perfect platform, like Indeed over Facebook, over Craigslist. I know nobody uses Craigslist anymore. Oh, maybe you do. Like, well, definitely let us know if you use Craigslist. I am not tracking that source right now. But since we know that it's not just this excuse that we can fall back onto because we have hard data, we know, okay, this isn't changing next year. It's not changing the year after that. So how can we leverage even more data on what applicants are converting the best? What platforms are converting the best? And that's where data comes into play, because you actually know what is working and what isn't. And what's amazing, as being an boots on the ground owner for years, I started my business when I was 18 years old. When I began reading the data, I was so upset. I was like, how can this data know more about my business than me? How can it be smarter in my business than me? Because numbers, they're not looking on the positive side. They're not giving you marketing math, right? Numbers is numbers. And whenever you can analyze the data, when you can measure the data, you can monetize the data. And if you're tracking the data, you can change the data and do what's working in your business. And we have something we have a weekly meeting with our team, and we ask them what's helping in new client acquisition, what's helping in workforce, what's helping in satisfaction, like what's helping. And then we say what's hurting, what's helping and what's hurting. And in your business, data gives you the cold, hard truth of what's working in your business and what is not working in your business. And so, Jesilynn, I want you to take just a few minutes. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but let them know, for those who haven't done the survey before, and guys, this is free. We're not selling you anything. Like, this is free. But how can they best go get this information, submit this information for the benchmarking report?
Yeah, so our website, it's homecarepulse.com/benchmarking. That will take you to a link where you can view the information about the benchmarking report. And then if you add /participate after that, it will take you to where you can actually access the survey and the prep worksheet to fill out for that.
Yes, and we'll see if, okay, Megan, awesome. Megan is on it. Megan is putting the links. They're in the links. They're also they're on the dashboard. They'll be on the dashboard. So when you leave this meeting, you can go and get them from the dashboard. Kevin is uploading them right there. But I really will tell you, this is your cheat sheet. It's your cheat sheet. Look at it, use it, utilize it, measure it, analyze it, and then use it for next year. And make sure that you begin tracking data, and track it simple first. Literally, if you have to be like me and use your planner and track the first 17 things, 10 things, and it's the things y'all all said, I'm doing that. So y'all are already tracking the data. Y'all done the hard part. Now analyze the data, look at it and say what's working and what's not working. What's affecting my bottom line? What's affecting my workforce? What's helping my workforce? What's hurting my workforce? What's helping my profit? What's hurting my profit? What's actually getting me leads? Who markets for relationships? We say marketing is it's about building relationships. And I say that all the time. People quote me a lot of times when they're saying it's about building relationships. But it's not just a relationship. It's about building a profitable relationship, right? We want the marketing that help us make more money, because when we make more money, we can have a bigger impact. We can grow our businesses. We can do things that benefit our teams more. And the data, tracking the data is what really helps us to know what's working and what's not working in our business. So I want to know from everybody who is you know what, who's saying data's not hard. Data's not hard. It just takes commitment. It takes commitment to track it. It takes commitment to track it, but it's so worth it, because when you've tracked it, you can leverage it, and you don't have to track it for a whole year to get a lot of good out of it. Really, after 30 days of tracking it, another 30 days of analyzing it, within 90 days, your data can give you a really, really good picture of what's working and what's not working in your business. And doing it consistently, absolutely, you're right, Janine, doing it consistently is incredible. And the only way to get anything out of it. If I track my calories for 10 days, but then I don't track them for another 80 days, and then I come back and track them for 5 days, is it probably going to help me lose weight? No. As y'all can tell, you can see what I'm working on right now. But if I did it consistently, day in and day out, it would make all the difference in the world. And that's what data is. It's something, when done consistently, you can leverage it. Our concierge care, we had $1 million revenue increase from concierge care by looking at the data. We created quick care visits that went into hundreds of seniors' homes that probably never would have had care until they either needed 24-hour care or went into an assisted living, had cares for years because we looked at the data. The data is important. So I'm excited. There's so many. Yes, very helpful, everyone. Thank you, Vanessa. I'm glad this is helpful. And I want to say, Jesilynn, thank you. Thank you for coming on here. And thank you for all that you do on a daily basis. We all know that when we need a question asked, that the customer support manager is definitely the person that we want to talk to, right? And so, Jesilynn, like you have been so helpful. Thank you so much for your time. And this isn't the last that you're going to hear from Home Care Pulse in the next 30 days, because does everybody know about the growth summit coming up? And Jesilynn, you want to take just a minute? I don't want to miss this opportunity to let everybody know that the growth summit is next week.
Yes, yeah. So our Growth Summit, the 2-day virtual conference where leaders and experts from the industry are going to come share their knowledge, experience, advice, expertise, and you can sign up for that. If you go to Home Care Pulse, we have it straight there on our website. You can purchase a ticket to join that. And we're so excited. There's going to be live Q&As with the presenters, and we're just really excited for that. It's next week. It's coming up really soon.
I'm excited. And like I will actually be doing a panel asking home care owners, like, how did you use data? How did you leverage data? So you're going to hear more data there, and you're going to hear from people who's literally, they're going to give you their transformation stories and how they made it simple for them and how they didn't overthink it. And now all of you know how simple it is. And you're going to hear a lot of incredible things about operations and growth and marketing next week. But this survey, not only is it an incredible resource for you, it really will help you to know what to measure, an easy way to track it, and an easy way to analyze it, and then compare it when the report comes out. Also, this is crucial to our industry. And if you consider yourself a home care leader in the industry, I feel like it's our responsibility to make sure that this data gets entered, because we want a seat. We're always talking about, we want a seat at healthcare, right? We want to be able to get additional funding. Like we don't want to be known as sitter services anymore. This data is what's making that possible. So there is so many reasons why this is important. So I want to thank y'all all. And I think I have answered your questions as they have come in. I've been watching on my side. If there's any questions that we didn't answer, then all you have to do is reach out on the community. Several people from Home Care Pulse are within the community. We have several people in our community that love data, like tag Greg Koopman. When it comes to data, he loves talking about data. He will give you insight. Susan Williams loves data. Like if you have a data question, tag some of them, tag me. Jeff Weiberg, oh my gosh, data expert, knowledge expert, home care expert, incredible leader, president of the Home Care Association of America. Like when it comes to data, we'll make sure that we get him to weigh in on your data questions. So thank you all for showing up, for coming. If you have a question, throw it in the chat. I will make sure that I answer it. If you walk away thinking, darn, I should have asked that question, put it in the home care operators community. We'll make sure that that question is answered in a timely fashion. And do your survey. I want you to do the survey so much that whenever you do the survey, or if you have done the survey, I want you to screenshot where you submitted it, post it on Home Care Operators Community, and I will put you into a drawing for a $100 Amazon gift card. I want to know that you did it, right? I want to give you some incentive. If all of the data gold is not incentive enough, we all know that several of us have some Amazon addictions. I'm going to help feed that Amazon addiction. So once you have done your survey, if you have already done your survey, just screenshot where you submitted it. I'm not wanting your information. I just want to see where it was submitted. You get the confirmation email, post it in Home Care Operators Community, and hashtag it data wins. Data wins. And I will put you in for a free drawing for a $100 Visa gift card. So awesome. I don't see any more questions coming in. So Jesilynn, we must have done an awesome job. We answered all their questions because I don't see any more here. Thank you so much for being here, Jesilynn.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. And I just want to say that if anybody has any other questions for my team here at Home Care Pulse, you can reach out to us. You can email us. The best email for questions about the survey, the prep worksheet, study@homecarepulse.com. But thank you so much, Jessica. It's been a pleasure talking with you today, and you just made me feel so at home. So I love this. This was fun.
You are at home. So welcome. And thank you all of you, Home Care Ops Nation, Home Care Ops family. Thank you for being here, for showing up, for playing full out like you always do. For all those who are watching live on our social platforms, thank you for showing up. Thank you for investing in your business, for investing in yourself, and for investing in your future. I appreciate you. Now, I want to see who is going to win that $100 Amazon gift card. And I will send you my wish list as soon as I send you the card. No, I'm kidding. All right, everybody, keep taking action. You can do this.